Picture this. A young banker standing on the edge of a glittering empire with wealth, power, and ambition within reach. But every crown comes with a chain. In part 1, I told you how Mrs. Adaronke Adelaja, a billionaire's wife, chose me, a small-town banker from Jos, to handle her fortune. Her offer wasn't just about money. It was a deal cloaked in seduction, power, and secrets that could make or break me. And how did I respond to her? Stay with me in this thrilling part 2. It all started with the phone call. You know, the kind of moment where you know you've just made a choice that will change the rest of your life? They say opportunity rarely knocks twice, but sometimes it doesn't knock at all. It just slips through a half-open door, waiting to see what you'll do. That night in Abuja had replayed in my head like a movie I couldn't pause over and over again. Her perfume, her voice, the way her words coiled around me like smoke. All I want is you. Her hand, heavy with that diamond ring, rested on mine, and her eyes burned with a promise I couldn't unsee. But when I returned to Jos that Monday morning, I had made up my mind. I would tell her no. It wasn't because I didn't feel the pull. I did. It was because I knew what saying yes could cost me. My job, my peace, and maybe even my soul. I'd worked too hard to climb from teller to sales officer. I couldn't risk it all for one woman, no matter how powerful she was. So, when her secretary called to say, "Madam, we'll see you at noon," I straightened my tie, whispered a short prayer, and drove to her office determined to end it. That afternoon in her office in Rayfield, Jos, I had every intention of saying no to her proposal. I'd walked in with a clear mind. I wasn't going to risk my future on the temptation she offered. I wasn't going to lose myself in her world. She was powerful, and I was nothing but a small-town banker trying to make a name for myself. My moral compass screamed, but ambition was louder. The air in her reception was thick with the scent of money, oud, leather, and fresh polish. Her office door was slightly ajar, and as I walked closer, her phone rang. She turned her back to me, her sharp silhouette against the glowing skyline of Jos. Her voice was calm, collected, but the words hit me like a drum. "Yes, Honourable. The all block has been approved. Initial deposit, 5 billion. Domiciliation will be with our bank. No issues. My banker will structure the rest." 5 billion. My steps froze. The words lingered in the room long after she hung up. My mind didn't hear the rest of the conversation. All I could see were the numbers, the glowing balance sheet of my dreams. And then, as she continued discussing the figures, the millions of dollars, I saw my career flash before me. The targets, the sleepless nights, the pressure from my manager, the hunger to matter. That one call painted a picture so vivid I could almost see my name on the branch performance board. Inem Johnson, top performing sales officer, Northern Region. Targets shattered like glass, my name on the top of the regional performance board, a new title under my signature, Relationship Manager, HNIs. My heart thumped hard against my chest. By the time she hung up and turned toward me, my decision had already betrayed my conscience. "Inem," she said with that knowing smile, "you look troubled. Is everything all right?" I swallowed. My mouth was dry. "Yes, ma'am. I just came to follow up on the Abuja meeting about your proposal." She leaned back, crossing her legs, eyes never leaving mine. "And? Have you made up your mind?" But then, just as I opened my mouth to say no, I remembered that all I had to do was say yes. And so I did. Yes. But as the word escaped my mouth, I knew it wasn't the answer I wanted to give. It was the desperate yes of a man caught between ambition and temptation. A yes I couldn't take back. She blinked once, as if surprised, then smiled, slow and victorious. "Good," she said softly. "Very good." Her eyes, when they met mine, burned with satisfaction, not for what she had won, but for what she had just started. She walked towards me, and before I could catch my breath, her arms enveloped me in a hug that felt like ownership. "You won't regret this," she whispered in my ear. "You've just said yes to your future." It was only later that night, when I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, that I realized how far I'd just fallen into her world. But the hardest part was realizing that I didn't even know what she wanted from me yet. The next 8 months moved like a convoy under siren. The morning after, her PA sent a list: mining company accounts to be moved to my bank, new fixed deposits to place, a domiciliary account for offshore receipts, and a calendar of introductions. I drafted KYC packs with the precision of a surgeon. Customer information file setups, RM codes, PEP checks, mandate cards, specimen signatures. Compliance pinged me with questions. I answered with documents before the emails landed. Treasury called. I negotiated rates like they were oxygen. By month 2, inflows hit the branch like a rainy season river. 500 million naira on a Tuesday, 3.2 billion naira before Friday prayer. I text balances at dawn, chased clearing delays at dusk, and learned the rhythm of her empire by heart. Just like she promised, everything changed. Fast. Her husband moved several of their corporate accounts to my branch. His oil firm's massive inflows made my targets seem insignificant. Her mining company opened new fixed deposits, each with hundreds of millions of naira. She introduced me to friends who owned logistics firms, real estate ventures, even a fashion line in Lekki. My phone never stopped buzzing. Calls, emails, texts from her friends, from her associates, all inquiring about new accounts, new transfers, new business. It felt like I was swimming in a tide of success, and all I had to do was keep swimming. Even more came. Real estate deals, government contracts, import-export businesses, each one larger than the last. As her personal banker, I was at the center of it all. Every new account meant new inflows, new targets crushed, and new recognition. By the 8th month, I was the youngest banker in the region to hit double my annual revenue goal. The branch manager called me in one Friday afternoon. He didn't sit, he just smiled. "Inem, you've made us proud. You're getting your first promotion, effective next quarter. Abuja already signed off." He clapped my back. "Keep that woman close. She's gold." I smiled, but deep inside, I knew she wasn't gold. She was a fire I couldn't control. Her presence in my life grew too. She began to demand more of my time. The business dinners with clients became more frequent. Now she'd ask me to come along, to represent her, to accompany her on trips, to keep her company while her husband traveled. At first it felt like privilege, but I soon realized that it was control. It wasn't just about being a banker anymore. It wasn't even about making money. It was about managing her world. She made sure I was always available. She set the rules. She chose when I could take a break. I had to clear my schedule at a moment's notice when she needed me. If she called at 2 a.m. to check on a transfer, I had to respond, no matter the hour, no matter the consequence. Sometimes she'd call late at night. "Are you alone?" "Yes, ma'am." "Good. I don't like sharing my investments." The way she said investments always sent a chill through me. But the world around me didn't care. They only saw my results. Clients trusted me, management loved me, my colleagues envied me. She became a constant in my life, and her demands grew more personal. She began to ask for things beyond banking, dinners where we'd discuss business in private suites, meetings with her investors who never spoke in full sentences, only whispered in Hausa or Arabic, their eyes always on me like I was being weighed for something more than numbers. And every time I met her expectations,
I was rewarded. A designer suit, a bespoke watch, expensive gifts that I couldn't afford, gifts that made me feel like I was part of something bigger. But every gift came with a silent weight. Every compliment came with an unspoken demand. Her world was mine to serve. The dangerous part, I liked it. I liked the recognition, the power that came with being in her inner circle. She was making me feel like I had a place in this world of the ultra-wealthy. I had more respect than I ever had in my life, and for a while, that was all that mattered. I was the star, the man everyone wanted to learn from. The man who didn't know he was already standing on a trapdoor. Looking back now, I realize something.
Success that comes too quickly often comes with silent conditions. At the time, though, I was too blinded by the light. Her gifts, her calls, her influence. My mother used to say, "When a river flows too smoothly, check who cleared the stones." But I didn't listen, because that day in her office, when I said yes, I thought I was saying yes to success. I didn't know I was saying yes to slavery. They say money doesn't change people, it only shows who they truly are. If that's true, then what Abuja awakened in me wasn't greed, it was hunger I didn't know existed. From the moment I said yes, my life became a blur of suits, signatures, and secrets. The bank gave me a new office, glass partition, private desk, my own nameplate gleaming under fluorescent light. Inem Johnson, Relationship Manager, High Net Worth Clients. Even the title felt expensive. Every morning I walked into the branch and heads turned, cashiers whispered, new recruits tried to shadow me. The security man at the gate started greeting me with an extra bow. That's the thing about banking. Success has its own perfume. Everyone can smell it. Mrs. Adelija and her associates' accounts had become the artery of our branch. Her deposits weren't just numbers, they were power. With every inflow, my manager's smile widened. "Inem, whatever you're doing, keep doing it," he'd say, spinning his car keys. "You've made this branch the envy of Abuja division." He didn't know, or maybe he did know, that I was barely sleeping, because keeping her happy was a full-time job on its own. She called me at odd hours. "Send me the daily balance," she'd command at 5 a.m. At 10 p.m., check if that USD transfer cleared. Sometimes she didn't even say hello first, just dove straight into instructions like a general barking orders at a soldier. But then who cares about the hello when she was changing my world? But other times, she softened. "You're doing well, Inem," she'd say after a successful transaction. "I like men who deliver." That line always came with a pause long enough to remind me she wasn't just talking about work. At first, I told myself I could manage it, keep it professional, draw invisible lines that she couldn't cross. But invisible lines fade when they're constantly tested. Soon, her requests grew bolder. She'd send me her husband's documents to review, contracts, project financing letters, drafts for oil license deals. "Inem, look at this and tell me if the figures make sense," she'd say, leaning over my shoulder, her perfume flooding my senses. I knew it wasn't my job, but I did it anyway. Every time I delivered, she kept rewarding me. A business class ticket to Abuja or Lagos for weekend getaway, a custom-tailored suit. She said, "Presentation matters. You represent me when you stand before those boardroom men." By my 10th month, she had made me her shadow. Wherever she went, Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, I was there, armed with files, figures, and false confidence. People started calling me Madame's banker. At first I hated it, then I started to like the sound of it. My next promotion came on a quiet Thursday. It wasn't announced. HR called me into the regional manager's office in Abuja on one of my trips to Abuja. He didn't waste time. "Congratulations, Inem. You're now an AM, as well as the senior relationship manager.
Your performance is exceptional." He slid an envelope across the table. New salary, new allowances, new responsibilities. I felt a rush of pride so strong I almost forgot to breathe. That evening, I called my girlfriend Tenny to share the news. She squealed with excitement. "Baby, I'm proud of you." Her voice was pure, happy, the kind of happiness you don't realize you're contaminating until it's too late. She said, "I knew God would bless your hustle." "Yeah," I murmured, staring at the luxury watch on my hand. God and hard work. I didn't tell her about the woman behind the promotion, the one who called me her investment. 3 weeks later, I was in Abuja again, this time for a business summit. She booked me into Transcorp Hilton, of course. We attended sessions by day and private dinners by night. There, she introduced me to powerful men and women with quiet voices and expensive laughter. "This is Inem," she'd say proudly, "my banker, my advisor." Some of them smiled politely, others looked at me too long, trying to figure out the invisible cord that tied us together. That night she called me to her suite after the gala. "I have something for you," she said, handing me a small box. Inside was a gold pen engraved with my initials. "For signing bigger deals," she whispered. I should have said thank you and left. Instead, I stayed. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe it was pride, or maybe I just wanted to feel like I finally belonged to the world I'd always admired behind the teller counter. The next morning, while I was checking emails, Dozy knocked on my hotel door. He wore sunglasses even indoors. "Madam treating you well?" he asked, grinning. I laughed awkwardly. "You talk like you know her." He chuckled. "Inem, Jos is small, Abuja smaller. We all know who's who." He leaned closer. "Just shine your eyes. That woman can make you or unmake you." I shrugged. "I'm handling it." He stared for a moment, then sighed. "Handling women like her isn't banking. It's survival." Then he walked away, leaving those words hanging like smoke in the room. By the end of that year, my name had reached Lagos headquarters. I'd been nominated for the Excellence in Client Relation Award. Our branch was now top performing in the entire northern region. My branch manager treated me like a junior partner. He'd say, "Inem, I trust your judgment," even when I knew he was just riding my wave. Sometimes I caught him avoiding questions about how I got those accounts so fast. Maybe he suspected, maybe he didn't. In banking, performance excuses everything. Then came the offers. Other banks noticed me too. They tried to poach me, offering bigger salaries, corner offices, and all the perks I thought I wanted. Emails from rival banks kept coming. LinkedIn messages with six-figure salaries and company cars. One HR head from a Lagos-based bank called me directly. "We're impressed with your portfolio. We can double your package." But every time, my branch matched their offers. When I told my manager, he laughed nervously and said, "We'll match it, don't go." Every time she made it clear, I belonged to her. That evening, she called me. "So, they want to poach you?" she asked, her voice calm but edged. "Yes, ma'am, but I told them I'm loyal." She laughed softly. "Good. Loyalty is expensive. Don't sell yours cheap." Her tone made me shiver. I was winning. I had everything I thought I wanted. Status, influence, money. But somewhere between the promotions and praises, I lost my reflection. I no longer recognized the man who used to pray before work. The man who used to dream of building a home with Tenny. The man who used to believe integrity mattered. Now, I only thought in figures, targets, and favors. And deep down I knew, the higher I climbed, the thinner the air became. Because when you rise too fast, you don't notice the cracks forming beneath your feet until they open and you fall. There's a saying in banking, not every deposit comes from clean hands. But no one told me that sometimes the dirtiest hands wear the most expensive perfumes. Dozy, my mentor, had been watching from the sidelines, his usual charm replaced by a quiet intensity. It started with a lunch. Dozy called me one Thursday afternoon. "Inem, you day brunch?" I asked. "Yes, why?" "Meet me at Varlane Lounge by 2 p.m. sharp. No wear suit, just come casual." He sounded urgent, almost uneasy. When I got there, he was already seated at a corner table, shades on, phone face down, a glass of Chapman sweating beside him. "You look like someone running from EFCC," I joked. He didn't laugh. "Bro, I needed to talk to you off record," he said quietly, "before you go too far." I frowned. "Too far in what?" He leaned closer, his voice low. "Mrs. Adelaja, that woman's circle is not what you think it is." His words hit like a punch. He leaned closer, his voice low. "There's a cartel out there. Rich women, powerful men. They don't just want bankers. They want loyalty, companionship, and they pay for it with accounts, connections, promotions." I stared at him, my beer untouched. "You're telling me you're part of it?" He smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. "How do you think I got those oil magnates, those government accounts?" At first I thought he was just being dramatic. But Dozy wasn't the type to chase shadows. He sighed deeply, then said, "You see, when I first joined the Jose branch, I met a client like her, Mrs. Ikwe, big-time contractor, connected to governors. She liked young, sharp bankers, promised to mentor me." He smirked bitterly. "Same story." I stayed silent, listening. At first, it was all business, then favors, then gifts, then he paused. "She introduced me to her friends. That's when I realized what they really were." I leaned forward. "What do you mean?" He looked around before speaking again. Dozy's words unveiled a hidden world. He told me about the Madam's Circle, a network of wealthy women, wives of billionaires, politicians, oil magnates, who traded favors with young, ambitious men. They weren't just clients. They were architects of power, pulling strings behind Nigeria's elite. They used bankers like you and me to move money, set up shell accounts, and sometimes to satisfy other appetites. I froze. "You mean?" He nodded slowly. "Exactly what you think. Half of them have their own boys in every major bank. They trade information, protection, and influence. It's a silent cartel. Adoranke was their queen, and I was their latest knight. Dozy taught me the ropes, how to smile at their innuendos, how to keep their secrets, how to make them feel like they owned you without giving too much. But he warned me, never cross them. Never." The word cartel made my stomach tighten. I whispered, "You're saying Mrs. Adelaja is one of them?" He smiled grimly. "She's not one of them. She's their queen maker." A silence hung between us. Outside, laughter and music from nearby tables carried on, but all I heard was my pulse. I tried to stay calm. "You think she's using me?" He gave a short, humorless laugh. "Bro, she's investing in you, and the return she expects," he tapped the table twice, "isn't just in Naira." I wanted to argue, tell him he was wrong, that our relationship was built on trust and professionalism. But deep down, something in me already knew. The late-night calls, the gifts, the way she looked at me like I was both her project and her prize. Dozy took a sip from his drink and continued, "You probably have you managing more than her accounts. Ever wondered why she gives you access to personal documents?" I swallowed hard. She said I trust him. "Exactly," he said. "That's how they start. You become their confidant, then their errand boy, then their secret." I stared at the melting ice in my drink. "Why are you telling me this now?" He sighed. "Because I didn't get out in time. When I tried to cut off Mrs. Ikwe, she blacklisted me." My heart thudded. "You're lying." He looked me dead in the eyes. "Do I look like a man with something to gain from lying?" I didn't answer. He continued, "Be careful, Inem. The day you stop being useful to her, she'll remind you who really owns the empire you think you built." That night, I sat in my car long after closing hours, staring at my reflection in the side mirror. When did I stop being a professional and become property? That night, I couldn't sleep. Every message from her felt like a test. Every compliment sounded like control. The next morning, she called as usual. "Inem, darling, how's my star banker?" I forced a smile into my voice. "I'm fine, ma'am." "Don't sound so stiff," she said teasingly. "You're family now." That word family sent a chill through me. Adoranke's demands grew bolder. She flew me to London for a business meeting that was just her, me, and a private dinner at the Shard. "Inem, you're my eyes in the bank," she said one night, her voice sharp. "I need to know everything, every transfer, every flag, every whisper." I nodded, but my stomach churned. Was I a banker or a pawn? Her husband, a towering man with a politician's charisma, he treated me like a son, but was absent more and more as he focused on his political career. He saw me as an ambitious young man, someone he could relate to. Over drinks at his Maitama mansion, he'd clap my shoulder and say, "Inem, you remind me of me at your age, hungry, sharp, unstoppable." I smiled, but his words haunted me. Did he know about Adoranke's late-night calls, her gifts, her temptation? If he did, he never showed it. Instead, he opened more accounts. His oil firm, his real estate ventures, even a state government contract he'd secured through his political ties. He'd often share his own journey to power, encouraging me to keep pushing, to keep climbing the corporate ladder. His words were flattering, but they only made me more aware of how deep I had gotten into this world. My branch was now the top performer in the northern region, and my MD invited me to dinners in Abuja, calling me the future of banking. Mrs. Adelasia's influence in my life was undeniable. Every time I thought of walking away, I reminded myself of the promotion, the salary, the recognition. I was finally a star. But stars fall, and the higher I climbed, the closer I was to the edge, the more I felt the weight.
Tenny's suspicions grew sharper. One night, she found a receipt from a 5-star hotel in Abuja Adoranke had booked for me. "Inem, who's paying for these trips?" she demanded, her voice trembling. She stared at it in silence. "So, Abuja? Again?" she whispered. "Tenny, please." I tried to laugh it off, but her eyes cut through me. She cut me off. "You're changing," she said. "You're not the man I fell in love with. Whatever this woman is giving you, it's costing you your peace. And soon, it'll cost you everything." Then she walked away. I wanted to tell her everything, to confess the gifts, the trips, the late-night meetings, but fear stopped me. What if she left? What if Adoranke found out I'd talked? 2 years passed. I had risen to the top, fast, too fast, and now it felt like I was drowning. The constant trips, the endless calls, the late-night demands, it was too much. And it wasn't just from her, it was the system, the expectations, the weight of it all. I started to make excuses.
When she called for a meeting in Lagos, I pretended to be sick. I faked a fever to avoid her personal requests. I couldn't keep up the charade anymore. "I'm sorry, madam, I'm under the weather," I said over the phone. Her silence was deafening. "Get well soon, Inem," she replied, her voice cold. I knew I'd crossed the line. The final straw came when she booked a flight to Dubai, but I missed it. I told her I was in Lagos for a client meeting. I couldn't keep up the charade anymore. Her touches, her whispers, her demands. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. That same weekend, I ran into her at a wedding in Abuja, my girlfriend, Tenny, by my side. As I laughed with Tenny, feeling like my old self for the first time in months, I saw her. Odoranke, in a gold gown, her eyes locked on me from across the crowded hall, and I could see the fury building behind her calm smile. Tenny's hand was in mine, and Odoranke's face darkened. She had betrayed her, not with money or numbers, but with my loyalty. That night, she didn't speak to me. She didn't need to. Her silence said everything. The following Monday, her secretary called. "Madam wants to see you. Now." I drove to her office, my heart pounding. She sat behind her desk, her face a mask of fury. "You lied to me," she said, her voice low and venomous. "You were in Abuja with her." I tried to explain, but she cut me off. "I gave you everything, Inem. Everything. And this is how you repay me?" I pleaded, apologized, but her eyes were cold. "You'll see what happens when you betray me." The door closed behind me like a coffin lid. The next morning, her secretary called to tell me I was no longer needed. My empire began to crumble. The fallout was swift and brutal. Within weeks, everything I had worked for began to slip away. Adoranke's accounts started moving. Her husband's oil firm pulled out, citing operational issues. Her friends followed, their accounts vanishing like smoke. The state government, influenced by Chief Adelaja's political clout, closed half their accounts with us. And the branch, my branch, started to feel the weight of my mistakes. My branch's balance sheet, once a masterpiece, was bleeding. My MD called me into his office in Lagos, his face grim. "Inem, what happened with Mrs. Adelaja?" he demanded. I had no answer. How could I tell him the truth? Dosie's warning echoed. Not all that glitters is gold. I'd ignored him, and now I was paying the price. Adoranke wouldn't take my calls or reply to my emails. Her secretary's voice was curt. "Madam is unavailable." I heard whispers in the banking hall. Colleagues who once envied me now pitied me. My branch manager, once my champion, distanced himself. "Fix this, Inem," he said, but his tone told me he'd already written me off. 2 months after my empire crumble, I was summoned to the branch manager's office. He didn't sit down. He just handed me my redeployment letter. "You've been reassigned," he said, his voice cold, "to Benue State. A backwater branch with no high net worth clients, no glamour, no future. My promotions, my reputation, my empire, it all crumbled." It was a sentence. I had lost everything. Dosie's words came rushing back to me. The glitter had blinded me, and now the darkness was setting in. I tried to call Tenny to explain everything, but she didn't pick up. When I finally told her the truth, the gifts, the trips, Adoranke's proposition, her silence was worse than her anger. "You chose ambition over us," she said, her voice breaking. "I can't do this anymore." She hung up, and I knew she was gone. I had no one left. I stared at my phone, the weight of my choices crushing me. Adoranke hadn't just taken my accounts, she'd taken my life. I'd climbed the ladder she built, only to find it led to a cliff. Months later, in my Benue exile, I sat in a local bar, nursing a beer and my regrets. The news played on a grainy TV.
Chief Adelaja was running for governor, his campaign funded by the same oil block Aderonke had mentioned in Abuja. She stood beside him, radiant, untouchable. I wondered what she'd told him about me. If she'd painted me as a disloyal banker or something worse. I'd never know. Dozy visited me one weekend, his usual swagger subdued. He didn't listen, Inem, he said, shaking his head. I told you to shine your eyes. He told me Aderonke had moved her accounts to a rival bank where a new golden boy was rising. The cycle continued, and I was just another casualty. Ambition can lift you to unimaginable heights, but without balance, without boundaries, it can tear you apart. Sometimes the people you trust with your dreams are the same people who will use your ambition against you. Always know your worth beyond the gold, because when the glitter fades, the silence will be all that's left. This story isn't just about a banker's rise and fall. It's a warning. Ambition can light your path, but without integrity, it's a fire that consumes you. Loyalty to yourself, your loved ones, your values, is the only currency that lasts. In the glittering world of Nigerian banking, where secrets are traded like cash, choose wisely. Because when the music stops, the only voice you'll hear is your own. But wait, maybe if I shine my eyes here, I might have another banker's story for you. You never know. So stay tuned to find out. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps more people find stories like this. Subscribe to the channel for more true and powerful stories that mirrors life, love, and the human struggle. And don't forget to turn on notification bell so you never miss when the next story drops. Every story has a lesson, and every lesson has a soul.